If you are hearing my voice before midnight on April 5th, do not click away. You were brought here for a reason. The April 4th portal of 2026 is not just another astrological event. Mathematically and cosmically, this is a Code 9 karmic reset. The painful cycle you have been trapped in for the last 7 years is about to violently break. Venus just clashed with Pluto, destroying what no longer serves you. And now, this 44 master portal is opening to hand you your ultimate reward. Wealth, clarity, and a specific person are rushing into your timeline. But you only have a few hours to claim it. I am going to show you exactly what you must do today to align with this destiny shift. Let us begin. Something happened to you yesterday, and I do not mean in a small, forgettable way. I mean in the way that leaves a mark, in the way that changes how you look at your own life, your relationships, your sense of what you are worth, your understanding of what you have been quietly tolerating in the name of love or loyalty or keeping the peace. You may have received information that shocked you. You may have felt a sudden, violent clarity about a person or situation, the kind of clarity that arrives without warning and cannot be unseen. You may have looked at something familiar and felt for the first time that you no longer recognize it as yours. Or perhaps nothing dramatic happened outwardly at all, and yet something inside you shifted so completely and so quietly that you are not sure the person sitting in your chair right now is the same one who sat down in it 2 days ago. What you experienced was not random. It was not a breakdown. It was not you being too sensitive or too reactive or too much. What you experienced was the direct, personal, unavoidable impact of one of the most powerful planetary collisions of this entire year. Venus in Taurus squaring Pluto in Aquarius, reaching its exact peak on April 3rd, 2026, while the waning moon in Scorpio simultaneously opposed Venus and squared Pluto, creating a T-square of extraordinary emotional force in the fixed signs of the zodiac. And today, April 4th, is the morning after. The smoke is settling, the ground beneath you is still, and the question the cosmos is now asking you, directly without metaphor, is this: what are you going to do with what you just survived? Because April 4th, 2026 is not an ordinary Saturday. It is a portal, and it has been mathematically encoded into this calendar date in a way that has not appeared in this form for years. You were meant to find this video. You were meant to hear what I am about to tell you. And by the end of this, you will know exactly what to do. I want to explain the mathematics of today before we go any further, because when you understand what is encoded in this date, you will stop feeling like a passive observer of your own life and start understanding yourself as someone the universe has been specifically, intentionally preparing. The date April 4th, 2026 carries 2 distinct layers of numerical power, and both of them are operating simultaneously right now. The first layer is what numerologists call the master vibration 44. When the day and month are both the number 4, April 4th, you are standing inside one of the most structurally powerful numerical frequencies in the entire system. The number 4 is the number of foundation. It is the architect's number. It is the number of walls, of corners, of that which holds and does not collapse. When the 4 appears doubled as 44, it becomes what is called a master number, a vibration that carries amplified, concentrated force. The 44 is specifically associated with the energy of permanent construction. What you build, commit to, or claim on a 44-day does not simply exist in the moment. It lodges itself in the architecture of your future and stays there. For women who have spent decades building structures for everyone else, the family's foundation, the household stability, the financial security that holds multiple generations, the 44 portal is profoundly, achingly personal. Because it is the universe saying, now. Now it is your turn to build something that holds you. The second layer is the number 9. When you add the complete date, 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, you reach 18. And when you reduce 18 by adding 1 plus 8, you arrive at 9. In numerology, 9 is the number of absolute completion, not temporary pause, not rest between rounds, absolute, irreversible completion. The 9 is the last number before the cycle begins again. It is the closing of every door that has been keeping you inside a story that was never truly yours. When the 44 and the 9 appear on the same day, as they do today, on April 4th, 2026, what you are standing inside is a portal that permanently seals what is behind you and permanently opens what is ahead. This is not a metaphor. The mathematics are real, and they are aligned today in your favor. Have you been feeling, for longer than you can comfortably admit, that something in your life has been quietly running its course? That a chapter has been finishing itself page by page, even when you were not ready? That is the 9 energy, completing a cycle that began approximately 7 years ago, in the previous 9 year in this numerological sequence. Today, that cycle does not merely pause, it ends. Now I want to explain exactly what happened in the sky on April 3rd and why April 4th is the morning of your liberation rather than the morning of your loss. Venus entered Taurus on March 30th, 2026. Taurus is Venus's home sign, the sign she rules, the sign where she is most fully herself, grounded, sensory, deeply aware of value and worth, oriented toward what is real and lasting rather than what is convenient or comfortable. A Venus in Taurus knows exactly what she wants and exactly what she deserves. She does not apologize for either. Pluto has been moving through Aquarius, the sign of collective systems, of the structures we inherit without choosing, of the invisible rules that govern who gets to have what and who gets to ask for how much. Pluto's work, wherever it moves, is singular. It strips away everything that is not real. It takes what is false, false security, false love, false peace, maintained through self-betrayal, and it removes it, not gently, not apologetically, but completely. When Venus in Taurus squared Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees on April 3rd, 2026, and the Scorpio moon simultaneously opposed Venus and squared Pluto from the opposite side, creating a tight T-square in all 3 fixed signs. What happened cosmically was a full-scale audit of your most intimate values, an X-ray of your relationships and your finances and your sense of what you are worth. Everything false went into the fire. And I want to be very precise about this, because this is the part that matters most. Pluto does not take what belongs to you. Pluto only takes what was never actually yours to keep. The relationship that showed its true nature this week, that was not your love story. Your love story is still ahead of you. The financial situation that revealed its fragility, that was not your wealth. Your wealth is still being built. The version of yourself you have been maintaining for others' comfort, that was not you. You are still becoming. April 4th is the morning after the fire, and the morning after a fire is not the end. It is the first moment when you can see, with total clarity, exactly what is still standing, what survived, what was real enough to endure. And that knowledge, that specific, hard-won, unambiguous knowledge, is the most valuable thing Pluto has ever handed anyone. Are you allowing yourself to recognize what survived in you? Because something did. History does not remember its portals by name, but when you look back at the dates that preceded enormous personal and collective transformation, the mornings after the collision, when everything looked different and the air smelled like new possibility, you can trace the pattern. I want to take you to the spring of 1962. In American households, something seismic was underway that most people could not yet name. The country was standing at the edge of a decade that would dismantle assumptions that had been treated as permanent. And for women specifically, women in their 30s and 40s who had built lives according to one set of instructions and were beginning to feel the wrongness of those instructions in their bodies. The spring of 1962 carried a particular quality of unbearable knowing. That spring, women began to articulate to one another, and sometimes for the first time to themselves, the thing that had no name yet, the recognition that they had been living inside someone else's definition of their lives. The women who used that moment of collective knowing wisely did not immediately burn everything down. What they did was simpler and more radical. They decided privately, in the interior of their own lives, to stop lying. Not to anyone else first, to themselves. They decided that what they knew was real, even when no one else confirmed it. And that single act of self-trust, that private refusal to deny what they could now clearly see, became the foundation on which the next decade of their lives was built. That is a 9 completion energy. That is what the closing of a karmic cycle feels like from the inside. Not dramatic, not loud, not celebrated by the people around you. Quiet, certain, irrevocable. I want to take you to another morning, the early days of October 1987. For millions of American families, that autumn arrived with a financial shock that felt in the moment like total collapse. Values plummeted, plans dissolved. Security that had seemed solid revealed itself as built on something less stable than anyone had been willing to see. And the women who held those households together during those weeks and months, the women who looked at the wreckage with clear eyes and said, "Not this, but not nothing either." Those women discovered something about themselves that no amount of stability had ever taught them. They discovered that they were the stable thing, not the account balances, not the market values, not the plans, them. That is what a Venus-Pluto collision teaches. It takes away the false floor, and in doing so, it reveals that you were never standing on the floor at all. You were standing on yourself. And that realization, that specific, Pluto-delivered realization about the location of your own solidity, does not reverse when the markets recover, or when the relationship stabilizes, or when the fear passes. It stays, forever. What did April 3rd reveal to you about where your true floor is? I want to spend a few minutes with the word karma, because it gets used loosely, and I believe you deserve the more precise and therefore more empowering version of it. Karma is not punishment. This is critical. Karma is not a cosmic accounting system in which you are charged for the mistakes of your past and required to suffer until the debt is paid. That is not what karma is. What karma is, in its most ancient and accurate meaning, is the law of energetic repetition. It is the pattern that keeps recreating itself in your life, not because you deserve pain, but because the pattern has not yet been seen clearly enough to be consciously released. Think about the situations that keep finding you, the relationships that seem different on the surface but feel identical beneath it, the financial moments that echo previous ones so closely you could have predicted them, the dynamic with family members that plays out the same way no matter how many years pass or how many conversations happen. None of that is punishment. All of it is the same pattern, wearing a new face, asking, "Do you see me yet? Do you understand yet what I am made of?" Because the moment you truly see a pattern, not intellectually, but in your bones, it loses its power to recreate itself. The 9 energy of today's numerological portal is doing something very specific in this regard. The number 9, as the number of completion, carries a unique characteristic that the other single digits do not. It dissolves. When you multiply any number by 9 and add the digits of the result, you always return to 9. The 9 absorbs everything and brings it back to itself. It is the great dissolver. And today, the 9 frequency of this April 4th date is dissolving the karmic pattern, not the pain it caused, which is real and deserves to be honored, but the invisible structure that allowed the pattern to keep repeating. This is why the language of this portal includes the word forever. Not because no difficulty will ever appear in your life again, but because the specific constellation of wound, pattern, and repetition that has been cycling through your story for the last 7 years. Today is the day that constellation breaks apart. The pieces may take time to settle. You may not feel the full impact of this dissolution for weeks or even months, but the breaking happened today, April 4th, 2026. In the mathematics of this date, and in the aftermath of yesterday's Pluto collision, something that has been running on its own momentum finally, permanently, stops. You are not in the middle of a painful story. You are at the end of one. Because karma is never abstract. It always lives in the specific geography of your actual life. I want to name the 3 areas where the April 4th portal is working most directly for women in this audience. The first is love and the question of what you have been accepting. The Venus-Pluto square of April 3rd was, at its core, a reckoning with the gap between what you deserve in love and what you have been receiving. Not because you are weak or foolish, but because you were operating under an old definition of what was available to you. A definition formed in decades of conditioning that told you that your worth was tied to your usefulness. That love was something you earned through service rather than something you were owed simply for existing. The April 4th portal is dissolving that definition today. And with the 44 energy of permanent foundation, what gets built in its place is not a feeling or a hope. It is a new standard, one that becomes the structural basis for every relationship you enter from this day forward. The second area is money and the question of your relationship with security. Jupiter in Cancer has been amplifying every financial feeling since last year. Every anxiety, every longing for stability, every memory of a time when money felt like something that could be counted on. And Pluto in Aquarius has been, beneath the surface, dismantling every financial structure that was built on someone else's rules about what you were allowed to have. Today's 9 energy is the completion of a 7-year financial karmic cycle. The decisions you make about money in the next 48 hours will carry the structural weight of the 44, meaning they will be foundational. Not dramatic, not bold leaps, small, deliberate, aligned steps toward what is genuinely yours. The third is identity and the question of who you have been pretending not to be. This is the quietest of the 3 areas and perhaps the most profound. Venus in Taurus, in its purest expression, is not about relationships at all. It is about self-worth. It is about the radically simple proposition that you have value not because of what you produce or provide or facilitate for others, but because of what you are. The Pluto square challenged that proposition with everything it had. It said, "Prove it. Show me what is still standing when the role you play is stripped away." And what is still standing, what Venus in Taurus always protects and Pluto can never dissolve, is the essential, irreducible you, the one who was there before every role you ever adopted, the one who will still be there when all of them are done. Today, that essential you is being invited into a different kind of life. I told you at the beginning of this video that there is one specific action you need to take before midnight to align with this portal. And I want to explain it precisely before I give it to you, because I want you to understand why it works. The number 44 is the number of deliberate, permanent foundation. The number 9 is the number of completion and release. When you combine their energies in a single conscious act, you are doing something that has real numerological and energetic weight. You are simultaneously completing what is behind you and laying the first stone of what comes next. And the way you do both of those things in one action is through what I call a declaration of transition. Here is the practice. Before midnight tonight, find 5 uninterrupted minutes. Not at a desk. Sit somewhere that feels like your own space, somewhere that feels like yours. Take 4 slow, deliberate breaths. 4 for the 44, 4 for the foundation. And then, in your own words, spoken aloud if you are able, complete these 2 sentences. I am releasing the story that told me I had to earn my place in my own life, and I am choosing to begin with what is already mine. That is it. No candles required, no crystals necessary, no ritual apparatus of any kind. Just you, 4 breaths, and 2 sentences that tell the universe, and more importantly, tell yourself that the old karmic story has completed and the new foundation has begun. And then, in the comments below, write one word, not a wish, not a prayer, a declaration. One word for what you are building on this April 4th portal. Peace, abundance, truth, self. Whatever word names the foundation of the next chapter of your life, write it here. Claim it in front of this community of women who understand exactly what it means to have survived the fire and chosen to build anyway. Please subscribe, because on April 9th, I will release a video about the most important cosmic shift of this season, Mars entering Aries, and you need to be prepared.